Sara Gutterman. I'm CEO of Green Builder Media, and I'm here today with Noah Chitty, VP of Sustainability for AHF. So let's just start with AHF, which is a parent company for a variety of brands. Can you just tell us about AHF, who you are, and what brands you represent?
So AHF, 5 years ago, was a residential wood company. And then with the acquisition of Armstrong, and then finally the acquisition last October of Crossville, kind of brings them U.S. manufacturing facilities in hardwood, resilient, and tile.
The Vision House Austin project, which, as you know, is a unique architect design home that's intended to showcase how sustainability begins with design. So talk a little bit about how AHF products and Armstrong and Crossville in particular, since those are the brands we will be showcasing in the project, contribute to sustainability at the design phase.
For the tile part, we chose one of the 3 carbon neutral products that we have. This is the perfect showcase to kind of start the conversation of like, what does a net zero building mean? What are the building products going into a net zero building need to have? And what does that carbon accounting look like? So I think one of the carbon neutral products made sense for this kind of project. And then wood, I think the main story around sustainability is just it lasting the time and it being obviously an all natural material. Interestingly enough, there's a conversation about how wood is the most sustainable, and there's a conversation about how tile is the most sustainable material, and just trying to figure that out because there is some complicated, nature in the back of that, biogenic carbon, and making sure that we're, bringing trees from sustainable forests so we can make those type of claims, and we just want to make sure that that people know we're going to be transparent about those products, especially the ones that we here in the U.S. And making sure that those have the sustainable attributes that people are looking for in the market.
The meticulous specification of low carbon products is essential for getting to a net zero carbon built environment. And you mentioned that we're going to utilize and showcase a net zero carbon product from Crossville in this project. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that particular product line has achieved that net zero carbon status?
As we've gone around talking about the carbon neutral products, a lot of the questions come, well, what percentage is coming from carbon reduction? So I've been trying to figure out how to put those two things together lately because my first instinct was, well, products are carbon neutral because we buy carbon credits. But I'm also saying in that same statement that somebody who buys carbon credits in order to get carbon neutral without a carbon reduction program isn't being sustainable. So I think what the architects and designers are trying to figure out is how to piece those two things together to ask a simple question. So I think I've sort of gotten there lately, which is we did our first EPD in 2014. We showed a 10% reduction by 2019. We'll show somewhere between 5 and 10% when we do the EPD this year. But I think the final answer that people are looking for is that we're somewhere close to in between 15 and 20% from reduction and 80% from carbon credits, with a goal of 30% reduction by 2030 and the rest carbon credits, and then a final goal of the carbon credits being zero eventually when we can figure out how to get all the carbon emissions out of the entire life cycle chain.
We know for a fact that younger generations believe that having a healthy home is kind of a must-have. It's not a nice-to-have anymore. So talk a little bit about how your products, and specifically the wood and tile products that we're using in the Vision House Austin, address that very important topic of healthy home.
From the tile side, I think it's probably pretty easy. We use all natural materials, fired to 2200 degrees. It is not possible for it to absorb VOCs from other materials, like if they paint or something, and it doesn't emit VOCs. So I think from a tile standpoint, a healthy home, and just like any hard surface material, and I guess that's maybe how they relate to wood, the hard surfaces of material are going to be easier to clean, usually able to be cleaned without chemicals that are going to, be difficult for somebody to deal with. And then really, I think the hard surfaces give you the fact, I have carpet in some of my house. It doesn't take you too long to realize that trying to keep one of them clean from allergens and contaminants versus the other is a much different situation, especially if you have pets or something.
Is there anything else that you would like to say or share with us today?
What I walked into was already a company trying to be very transparent about what they're doing. And when that happens, it's super easy. So, I mean, I think our goals for the future are to make sure that we're transparent, mainly through environmental transparency and material ingredient transparency. And we're in the process of trying to do that across the board for all the products that we make. And then I think we will sit down and figure out kind of what, carbon reduction strategies look for in the future. And of course, we have to tie in all of the other things in the AIA pledge or in the designer pledge, supply chain and social equity and circularity are all things that we need to bring to the table for future product design, for future acquisition, all of those things. There's a lot more to think about in today's world of sustainability that is really a major piece of what we're doing as we go forward.